conflict or appearance of conflict and refrain from any undue participation in the particular matter involved. No conflict, anybody conflicts, anybody?
No.
Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda is our action items. I don't know if we need to actually take any action on the Pine Hall X-ray, but we're going to get an update on it. I don't think, there's no action required today, is there?
So Andy, we're trying to send you what we're going to go over. So where am I? I'm sorry.
Just an update on the Pine Hall X-ray thing that we recently got the funding for.
So we moved forward with the room set up. The room was originally built for X-ray, so the walls were lead lined, but we had to wait till we decided which actual piece of equipment to put there to see where the control panel and the person operating the X-ray is supposed to be. So all of that is moving along. And I don't have a date for when we expect that to be done, but we should be able to give you more progress with each meeting.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. We also have a budget amendment, I think, in our next meeting, commissioner meeting, to add a little bit more funding for Mr. Petrie that he had left in the account.
I think it's going over to the other.
Okay, the next item on our action item on our agenda is the approval of the alternate hospital operations committee members that we thought we'd done earlier, but then realized we needed to get that done. So I think we discussed that at the last meeting and said we would put it on the agenda for this meeting for action. That's Justin Duncan and Debbie Vaden. They're non-voting alternates who are allowed to attend the meeting, but they don't vote. Y'all get it to them?
Yeah, it's in the packet. Y'all talked about them at the last meeting. Y'all were going to move it to this meeting to vote on. So it's in your packet.
So Justin and who was the other one?
Justin Duncan and Debbie Vaden.
So you need a motion?
Need a motion, right, to approve those.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Anybody? Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Passes. We're also still searching for a person from Sandy Ridge, but we haven't got a application.
Yeah, we do.
Oh,
We're going to bring it to the HOC meeting tomorrow.
Oh, we're going to, okay, we'll do. We have an HOC meeting tomorrow, so we'll
We
address
just got
that
it.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So maybe we'll have that one at the next meeting.
Yep.
The last action item we have today is the land transfer agreement that was recommended by the county attorney. Pam, do you have anything to add to that before we vote on it? Approval?
No, in your packet you should have the information if you look at the map and have any questions. We did do some clarification with Ty, what he had originally sent. Had some of the old language, so as it will be presented, the current document he set up for the transfer to be signed actually by Rick as the chairman of the Board of Trustees for the Stokes-Reynolds Board. So all that should be in line with those Stokes-Reynolds bylaws. Do you have any questions after looking at the map, which piece of property we're talking about? Okay.
If you guys approve it, we'll try to get it signed tomorrow while I'm over here for the HOC meeting. Has to be notarized and everything. Okay, I have a motion to make the land transfer, approve the land transfer.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Did Andy give us an aye? Y'all watch it. Is he giving it with?
We got a thumbs up.
Okay.
We got his vote. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is a Stokes-Reynolds Memorial Hospital Operations Committee update. Before I get to that first item, I'll tell you, we've got a meeting scheduled tomorrow for the Hospital Operations Committee, and we're going to be we've already started, but we're going to continue working on the contingency plan that the board's looking for. Reference our earlier discussions on that, and our objective is to have a draft contingency plan ready for you guys to look at the next Board of Trustees meeting. One that will be coordinated with LifeBright and everybody. So that's our goal, is to have that ready at a month from now at the next meeting. The first item on the agenda today is the town hall meeting recap. And I'll make a comment or two and see if Christy maybe wants to say anything. But what we put in the packet for you, really to do nothing with today other than take home and look at. But what this is it's a compilation of all the comments from the 6 town halls. Just the raw data, period. No real analysis or anything, or not what analysis that needs to be done on it. That's still a work in process. But this will just give you the exact comments, questions, and so forth that were that came out from all the people that attended the town hall. I think there was a little over 200 that attended, all 6 of them together. And then Christie's put a sheet on top that is a little bit of it'll be part of the report when we finish it, but it's basically a list of topics down the side that relate to the comments and so forth that were made, and then her X's reflect which of the town hall meetings people made those comments or had those questions and so forth. And what you can do if you just go to the X, say go down to like 3/4 through, it says hospital image. It's got 2 X's there, Francisco and Sandy Ridge. That'll just make it easier for you to flip back to those 2 town halls and look at exactly what was said. If you want to kind of just look at it from that perspective. And those are based around the major topics that were brought up during the discussion as well. So I think before this goes into a final report, which it won't do until you've approved a final draft of it, so this board has, what we'll do next is go back and look at the USDA criteria for feasibility studies that they require. If you're going to fund something with USDA, that's the first step, or one of the first steps, is to have a feasibility study. And so we'll look at what that feasibility study requirements are and try to tailor the final report from these town halls to fit the questions that are going to be asked in the feasibility study that'll have to be answered in the feasibility study. So unless you guys have a different way you want to approach it, that's the way we were thinking about taking a look at it. And then we'll put it into a final report with some additional summaries and analysis and bring it to the board for approval. And then I think the next step we want to do was decide if we needed to do more sampling beyond the town halls with some kind of survey or something. And after you get the final report, we can discuss that at that time and decide if you want to do some additional surveying or sampling of the community to see where they stand on everything. Did I miss anything, or is that basically it? Do you have anything to add? You or Pam, either one.
I have a question. How many town halls did y'all have altogether eventually when you got through?
6. Yeah.
6
Yeah.
town halls, and it sort of was spread all over the county.
Yeah, they're on that sheet
I saw
that's
them.
in the packet. They're across the top there in yellow. That's the 6 that we had. Francisco, Pine Hall, Sandy Ridge, Walnut Cove, Danbury, and King. They're all evening meetings except the Danbury meeting at the Arts Place, which was done to accommodate folks that couldn't make the night meetings.
Thank you.
And Andy, Christie just sent that to you, so you'll have that.
Okay, thank you.
Will it come from me?
Oh, yeah, it comes from me. She took my computer and sent it to you.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys have any more questions or comments on how we're proceeding with that topic?
I think the only thing that just comes to mind, we started the town halls about the time that the information came out about the state budget and the funding on behalf of the hospital. So there may have been some mentions or some comments that were made in subsequent meetings. It came out, I think, the evening of the Pine Hall meeting. So there may not have been comments in Francisco and Pine Hall just because that was breaking news while we were in the midst of meetings. So
Yeah, the
that's
approval,
the only
approval
thing, yeah.
was, the approval of that budget. Well, it happened that day, I think, that we had the town hall.
So I think we tried to take the comments. We wanted you to have all the comments, so that's why you have that sort of in the summary. Christy did a good job of taking notes. We tried to take those comments and sort of group them together. So on your draft of the table there with the X's on it, we tried to go ahead and group those into sections for planning, proposed costs, and timeline, and any things that seem to fit under that. So if you look at this and you think you would rather see that in a different section, we'll be glad to move that. And this also will go for the first time to the Hospital Operations Committee tomorrow, so they may also have some feedback about how they feel like the conversations went. Then different comments were made about the different funding sources. That's why when I looked down there and saw the Philberger budget intentions, that wouldn't have been possible on the first two town halls.
Yeah, the technical correction that he made, that happened.
And the grants and grant writing were also brought up at some of the later town halls. Roadblocks is what we chose. I'm sorry, do you have a question?
I don't know, he disappeared, Andy.
He said he was going to take off, and
okay.
he would join after he got up
Okay, I see it now.
high enough.
Okay, gotcha.
For roadblocks, any things that people brought up that were reasons they either weren't using services currently or were things that were issues as far as the current facility, we put under roadblocks. Then partnerships, there were lots of things throughout the county that we got feedback about partnerships. Marketing was pretty much mentioned everywhere. People weren't sure what we could do and what services were available. Then because there was mention in different parts of the county for the hospital in Danbury versus the hospital in King, emergency departments and helipads were mentioned for both places. So we felt like those were big enough things to deserve their own sections. Then just to let you have a sense of preventative care services, or preventative care and services that people mentioned they would like to see. You can see that's a pretty big section, then education and community services. So that's how we sort of categorized them as a first pass through for presentation. But then as Rick said, if you want to see what specifics were mentioned, then you can look back to the summary sheet. The only other thing, I guess, just to go back and comment, I'm not sure where we put that, Christy, where there were lots of life-saving stories, I guess, under the marketing section. life-saving stories or positive comments. There were lots of positive comments throughout that you can read in detail in the summaries. And then a couple of folks at least asked if that would be something that you all would like to see more of, that they would be glad to share other stories.
Anything else, Pam? That it?
Pretty much all I have.
Okay.
There was a lot of dialogue that went on, but as far as you all hearing what the community said, I felt like it was a good, when you say educational session, Greg is one of the presenters. The communities seem to appreciate the fact that we took the time to come out, and then I think we told you before, they had said that they would appreciate us coming back around to get an update if we could make time to do that.
Yeah, at the appropriate time, yeah, we could do that maybe. We also videoed one of these sessions too, at the Arts Place, I believe. So,
Well, they did Facebook Live.
so they can go look at that now. They could, somebody still could that didn't attend the meetings and make comments if they want to. How do they find that? Facebook Arts Council.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say, we're where we had Wi-Fi and connections to do that. Not everywhere had that ability.
They did that.
Yeah, they did that for us.
Okay. Any other question, comments before we go to the next topic?
Just thank you for compiling all this information. I'll get some good reading tonight. A lot to read through, but it's a lot of good information to have. Good feedback, and appreciate y'all hosting those meetings and going around and doing that to get us this information. And I think it's like Rick said, we're moving forward. Before we do anything too major, we probably will need maybe think about other ways to get some feedback and some survey type information maybe in addition to this. But this is definitely a good start and a good information for us.
Yeah, the more you have, the better you can do with the feasibility studies and so forth. So I would definitely agree with you on that.
Just glancing through this, looking over it, three different parts of the county, I've seen three things that people would really like to see. Just glancing through it, already three areas of the county.
All righty, our next topic then is the Stokes Health Alliance update, and I think we've made contact now with Atrium or Baptist, and so I'll let Pam give an update on that as well.
Yeah, do you all remember us talking about this before, the Stokes Health Alliance and the historic meeting or group that was in place? So I do feel like we have buy-in now from both Baptist, Atrium. We had a good conversation since the last meeting with two representatives from Atrium, and I think had we known better, they would have possibly been in attendance today. But we'll try to go ahead and thinking through. Again, our meetings feel a little bit out of sync now with the Hospital Operations Committee and the trustees meeting, but perhaps inviting these folks to come and meet at the March Hospital Operations Committee and meet with that group and brainstorm a little bit and hear some of the feedback. They're interested, both groups were interested in the feedback from the town halls as well. So having those final documents ready to be able to go over, and then getting the groups together just to hear about what we've got going on in the county and what we feel like the needs are. So that would give us an opportunity to, if the Hospital Operations Committee is willing to be part of that group, or we could have it immediately before or after that group if they want to attend. So we'll try to go ahead and get that
Yeah, and the couple of issues we have to deal with the money that was left over there and what we're gonna do with it. And I think it's 7,000 something.
Yeah, I brought the statement, 7,380.
We'll have to legally figure out what we're supposed to do with that and how to disposition those funds, which will be the decision of the board here, how we do that. I think it would, wouldn't it? Yeah. And then the other thing is whether we continue the Stokes Health Alliance. I guess we'll get feedback from them on whether they want to do that or not, and we need to figure out between us and them if that's a good thing to do, or if we could merge it somehow with the operations committee or whatever. So when we get some direct feedback from, who is it? It's Forsyth and Baptist, and who else on there?
Well, Stokes County, and when the hospital came out from under the county and the Baptist structure, it was decided that the health director would be the chair of the committee. And with all of those transitions, Tammy had helped me find the old minutes and look up. I was the treasurer, which is part of why I started searching for finding these statements and realizing that we needed to work on something. So the health director was to serve as the chair, but certainly whatever the committee would like to decide with that, we could certainly entertain that being a part of the hospital operations committee, because that structure wasn't in place when that decision was made.
We take a look at that. The money that the 10 million that's in the budget, we've got to start. I guess we're going to have to get some answers about when we're supposed to spend that and how much time we have, and more details on how it should be spent and what it's going to be spent on. And have this group has all the key, has us plus the big hospital players all involved. So as we do strategic planning for that, they could be of assistance there to us possibly as well.
And I'm not sure, do you all know, as far as when money's given to the county for a specific purpose, do you all get specific direction?
Yeah, we've been working on that, and that's part of what's on our commissioners meeting. Grant for the conflict of interest policy and the tax debt policy. I've already submitted the scope of work, the generalized scope of work for 3 different directive grants, which the hospital is one of them.
Okay.
They know it'll be changed as time develops. We had to submit that already. Once I have these forms approved, we'll submit those, then they'll send us the contract to execute, and then we'll do that, then we'll get the funding. Hopefully they said as early as maybe the end of this month when they get those. Then I'll have all that.
And then do they have to know what the intent of spending is to do
They had a
that?
pretty good idea that it's going to be spent for. We did a pretty broad scope of work on that. Was kind of talked about your town hall meetings, that scope of work and what you've been doing, as far as getting feedback and information, and that all. That can all be updated as you go along.
Okay, good. And will that be under the Health and Human Services, I wonder,
The
or?
money right now, everything is coming through the OSBM office, is where we're facilitating all the grant funding.
Oh, okay. Usually they require reports and a lot of stuff pretty quickly, right?
I'm sure after we get the.
Once we get-
Execute the contract, all that will.
Yeah.
Have come down the line, but if it's had those few housekeeping things to do with it first, to be able to get the funding.
Okay, sounds good. You guys have any questions on that? Any comments or questions? Okay, we'll proceed along with that, and you don't need a closed session, I don't think, for anything today. So does anybody have any other business questions, comments, business before we adjourn?
How's the COVID situation at the hospital now? I know y'all have had a lot of
Yes, thank you.
cases and things to deal with up there with that.
Yes. Thank you for your patience in us not having a meeting in January. We were in full crisis mode at that point. The positivity rate was up in the high 30s for the county, Stokes County positivity. In January, it's now down in the 20s. So we hope it will continue to decline what we have found is that for the vaccinated folks, it is helping preserve and have a lighter case, but we are seeing vaccinated folks who are getting COVID now. So appreciate the vaccines and the protection that has been given. We are, I think there were a couple of weeks that every patient we had in the hospital was COVID positive. So it was it was quite a ride, and hope it's not one we take again. But
Yeah, just about every one of our calls that we got in January, if it was anything breathing related, it was COVID attached to it.
and today we had 3 COVID positives in the hospital. We've just admitted another one today, so it is still around.
Yeah. I got 3 people right next to me that's got it.
And the symptoms keep getting a little sneakier. Lots of folks who've come in positive have said, "No, I don't have COVID. I've just got a bad cold." No fever, none of the other initial symptoms that people had. So getting tested is really the only way to be sure.
You have just a sore throat and still have COVID, even with no
Yeah,
other symptoms?
For the ER symptoms, we're going ahead and testing sore throats, runny nose.
Okay.
Yeah, but
GI.
Yeah.
there was a guy right next to me thought it was his sinuses. Went and got tested. Now he's really sick.
Yeah. And then some folks are not feeling so bad initially, and at day 10, coming back and it's turned into a pneumonia or something. So it's a sneaky little thing.
For sure.
Any other things that you all feel like are pending that we need to bring back in the way of report, or
The next meeting.
now that I can get my head back in the office and work on stuff?
Like I said, just glance through this, like a lot of good feedback from people out in the county.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, we'll make a real effort to get a draft contingency thing ready for next meeting too.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. That was on my
Yeah,
questions to ask today, but y'all answered that right off the bat. So.
yeah. If no more variants come along to COVID,
Yeah.
we should be able to do that.
There'll be more, I'm sure, but maybe you'll catch your breath in between them.
Yeah.
We hope and pray.
Yeah.
All right, anybody have any other business? Get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.
Break.
Deal.